Snowy. If you lose this game, that is going to be heartbreaking.
So the weekend's over, and that means Omen Oasis is over. And really quickly, you know, I ended up getting third, but I just want to say there's a lot of people who are showing support to me, and I always know, you know, I have a good crowd rooting for me, and I just want to say thanks to all those who are, I guess, cheering for me and supporting. More than anything, you know, I'm happy to put on a good show, but also I'm happy to be back in top 8, but also make a return to top 3. Especially with just how everything went. I had some like weird internet problems that I ended up having to move my PC setup entirely, but luckily that didn't affect any performance. If anything, it possibly helped just because it eliminated the, you know, the fact that there could be some sort of issues with my own network. But aside from that, it was a fun tournament. I was glad that I was able to play as much Mordex as I did in particular. I really was trying to push like some other characters. There was Onyx, which, you know, Onyx is great, and I think down the line I might end up playing Onyx, especially if Cannon goes back to some just absolutely stupid bonkers state. I don't know if that's really gonna be possible, but we'll have to see. I don't know. I just really had a fun time playing Mordex, and in most matchups I ended up getting away with it. There's a couple where I was like, okay, probably should swap to like Val here, and I definitely made the right call. But yeah, Val and Mordex were the main two. I ended up not playing any guns. I know I talked about Thatch maybe a little bit, but then I was like, I don't really know if Thatch was the play, and I'm happy I didn't commit to Thatch because it definitely wasn't. Overall, you know, as far as how I felt against most people in pools, you know what, let's just give a little run of what ended up happening. In pools, I played some people I played Taskin, who's a Mirage player, ended up actually taking a game off me, and then I ended up also playing Guichabao, who is a level like 91 Lin Fei at this point. I'll probably end up doing a video with them in the future, but dude, that was like, playing Guichabao was so stressful. Like, Taskin might have taken a game, and there's definitely some like silly things I did to allow that, but oh my gosh, when I say like playing Guichabao was stressful, trying to avoid a Lin Fei Cannon and Sig is ridiculous. Like, looking out for that Sig is so incredibly scary. Like, it's I don't know, like it was possibly the most nervous I was the whole tournament. Like, maybe there was like one other moment when I was playing Costalix and I really needed to win a game, and I was like we were both like one hit, and I needed the sword recovery to close it out. But aside from that, I don't know. I guess because it was pools and it's a best of 3, I had those like extra nerves. Then moving on, I ended up getting actually a couple rematches in this tournament, and the first was the good old Hardy MJ Greatsword, which I will say surprisingly went way better than it did before. With that being said, you know, I will say he definitely seemed like he was playing worse, but I also think I was willing to be much more patient, which was 100% like a huge issue the first time I played him, because he was willing to kind of like use my aggressiveness against me, and with Greatsword, you know, as long as you stay on the ground, you're not really gonna have too much trouble. And yeah, he didn't really get anything started a lot of the times because I was able to just avoid that completely. Because what would happen is, before, the first time I played him, he would hit me with like a sidelight, right? Or he wouldn't even hit me with a sidelight. He'd just simply do a sidelight, and then that sidelight would end up, he'd end up spot dodging, and then by the time he ended up needing to do like, or like by the time I was like moved in on him, right? He had already dodged my move. He could do another move, or he could like dodge again if he really wanted to. And it was so annoying because it was this cycle of, okay, use a move to bait him out. Oh, I come in close, I whiff, then, you know, or he dodges it, and then I try and dodge, and then I get hit, or he like tags me again. And next thing I know, I'm caught in a like 3-piece, or I'm caught in like some long string. His mix-ups were also, I would say, much better the first time around, or I didn't really know what to expect, because I had to prevent like just certain angles, and I think that definitely helped me a lot. So I was definitely like aware of that. as well. Just the different angles he was using. Like, I kind of knew what his bread and butters, like what his go-tos were. So that was like, I mean, that was just huge. Being able to like see that and be like, oh, okay, he's gonna sometimes hit me with like an end light opener on greatsword, and he's just gonna go straight into the closer for it, or the finisher. I forget what it's called, but dude, greatsword's just a weird weapon. Like, he played some sword, but also I know he likes to grab to cancel a lot, so that ended up being, you know, pretty nice. And then after that, I ended up getting a 3-1 victory over Hardy, and then I ended up playing Pugsy. And Pugsy, I will say, I felt pretty good about Pugsy, or just like playing Pugsy in general, because with Pugsy, I know that he's playing Jala, and, you know, axe matchup, sword, like, I know he's really, really good at that character. He's one of the best at that character. However, with that being said, I also know how much, like, he doesn't like gauntlets, and I also knew, I'm like, okay, if I just get some sort of momentum on Mordex, like, I really feel like I can just take over. And, you know, in game 1, that's absolutely what happened. I just had like a download with gauntlets, and sometimes I really do feel like my my momentum is just so strong in the first game, and like I do a really good job a lot of the times at like building that and really just applying the pressure right out the gate. It's just that it's not always a sustainable way to play, and I got to be able to sometimes like tune it back or just readjust, because the people I might be playing against, you know, they might not give me that opportunity. Eventually, they might be like, oh, okay, well, he's beating me in this fashion where right out the gate, he's wanting to play really, really quick. And, you know, they'll give me that game. But then they have to end up backing off a little bit, because they either can't match the pace, or they realize that, oh, okay, well, this guy just wants to run at me the whole time, so let me back off. And that didn't really hurt me versus Pugsy at all. But the next 2 games, yes, it was a 3-0, but it was close, aside from the first game. I had a couple nice gimps on him. I guess some reversals on stocks. I don't really like calling them gimps necessarily. I mean, I guess they were, but it's just like, yeah, I mean, I was down considerably, but then I was able to just like apply some damage, and then just put him off stage with Scythe, and just kind of read where he was going like 75% of the time. So that was really, really nice. Then after that, I ended up playing Snowy, and you know, the Snowy games, first game, I think I ended up losing. The second game, I ended up winning. Maybe that's reverse. Actually, no, I lost second game, which I kind of think I kind of think I made some really silly mistakes in there. And then in the third game, I actually ended up catching him, which I'll actually show the clip right about now. For those of you who haven't seen it. So here's a clip of me getting an absolutely disgusting reversal on Snowy to put me up 2-1.
Yo, but can sometimes struggle to get that, get the damage, but sometimes can struggle to get the KO. That's why we're even at last stock apiece here in the first place, because he had a very large lead before. One stray Sair, pretty much anything, like you talk about neutral light, we'll take it. Weapon toss pushing him deep off stage, force him to have to recover.
Oh, that's the dodge from
Phazon.
Dodge. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Snowy might have been a little bit worried about that. He was at the weapon disadvantage over on the wall. You know what Scythe can do on the edge when a skilled player has it in their hands. Snowy just wants to dip down beneath his... Oh no, Snowy! If you lose this game, that is going to be heartbreaking! 6 minutes and 40 seconds! I cannot wait to see the graph, Ajax!
So yeah, I mean, I did that, and I was feeling pretty good, but I also knew, I'm like, okay, I'm winning by like the skin of my teeth in these games. I wasn't really having a dominant performance on Snowy, like, whatsoever. So, and I also, you know, I also knew my gauntlets were just losing oh so bad versus that guy. Like, that guy was just owning me in the gauntlet ditto, and I don't know what it was. Like, I definitely felt like he's good at gauntlets, and, you know, in the moment, he was definitely the better gauntlet player. I don't know if it was, like, the weapon throws. Like, that's what I go to, usually. I've said this before, but in dittos, I think weapon throws, they can be like really big when it comes to a ditto, just because, you know, it's adding another layer to it, and especially with gauntlets, you're gonna be forcing the dodges. So he ended up kind of turning up the heat the last 2 games, which, you know, I couldn't be too mad, like I said, just because he ended up beating me at a weapon that I consider myself to be very, very good at, possibly one of the best at least in my region. And it's the weapon I've put probably the most time into at this point. So being like a main of the weapon basically, and I guess holding myself in a little bit of this like high regard yeah, it was like, dang, yep, he outclassed me. Like, it is what it is. I ended up dropping to losers. I got my run back on Kostelix, the man that I bumped my head against, and I knew I donated my run. I was telling you guys, I donated my run. I had a really nice edge guard in game 4, I believe. I ended up swapping to Akuma or Val, so that was really, really good. So after the 3-1 against Kostelix, I ended up playing Radish, who had his best tournament run ever. I don't think that guy has ever gotten top 8 before, and he ended up getting 4th, which is really odd. Because it was just like, to me, I mean, I've played Radish plenty of times, and I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's really, really good. Maybe it's because I played Snowy before, and so I already played against someone who owned me in the Gauntlet Ditto, and I was kind of looking for maybe a little bit of revenge. I was looking to kind of like, I don't know, prove that I can still like dominate someone in the Gauntlet Ditto, but I really didn't, like, I don't know. I didn't want to say I didn't struggle with Radish. But like he did get a game on my Val, and then once I swapped to Mordex, the games were still like rather competitive, we'll call them, but I ended up kind of just completely eliminating him on Gauntlets, and then at that point I was like, okay, I just gotta watch out for the orb. I watch out for the orb, and I'm gonna be golden, and that's kind of exactly what happened. But congrats to Radish on the placement. I ended up having to fight Luna in losers, which I mean, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. My momentum early on in those games, the first stocks were just insane. Even leading, you know, throughout the second stocks. It's just that, with that being said, people know how to slow it down. And against Taros, you know, that 9 strength, like he's going to be getting above average damage on me. So it was really tough. And I didn't make the adjustments I needed. So he ended up winning 3-1 on me, I believe. And he ended up going on to win the tournament. So congrats to Luna. I just need to be more patient in some cases. You know, I like playing aggressive, but it is what it is. Thank you guys for supporting. Again, it really means a lot. Hopefully this kind of locks me in for the mid-season invitational, but we'll find out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, everyone.